Hey, this is Charles from IGN. I'm here with Nick Colin.
Hey everyone.
And I'm checking out the Diablo III Beta, which has been updated a few times since it went live in late 2011. Some of the systems don't really work the same way that they used to, and given all of the anticipation over the release date, which has yet to be announced, it's still meant to be early 2012, which is hopefully within the next few months. I figured to just show off sort of what is different, how things work. So in the beta, there are this is after beta patch 10. There are now achievements all over the place. These are beta specific achievements like this one, Overachiever. Complete all of the achievements that can be obtained in the beta. The achievement system works similar to what you may have seen in StarCraft 2, where you complete...
Or World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft has a very similar achievement system as well.
Yeah, and it's basically you get points for unlocking these, but you can also get special unlocks, indicated meow. In this case, a Diablo head and a rectangle shape.
And those are both for...
Totally worth it for your banner, which you customize with achievements. This is just basically a fancy way to show off your character.
And I believe that will probably end up being used in the PvP portion of the game. You'll probably have a tabard or a banner hanging over you.
The PvP portion is also not available in the beta.
That's
the
right.
Beta is just a small portion of the single-player experience. The auction house is here, which I'm not going to look at right now. And you can also look at your character in this mode and show off achievements and things like that. Your hero, you can rotate around, cool lighting effects, look at your gear.
Fire.
Look at your active skill loadout. I'm sure, you know, as you make more characters, though, you can switch between them here. Anyway, go in-game. This is on normal difficulty. There are 4 difficulty settings total, but in the beta, it's just normal. I've played through a little bit, so I've leveled my my barbarian. And one of the more interesting things that were added in recently is that the whole skill system has been changed around. I can bring up my skill menu here, and actually, you know what? They've also added a town portal to the menu. That has you no longer use sort of a stone of recall to go back to town. So this is very familiar for Diablo fans. You just use the town portal, and once the game actually loads properly, there we go. I'm back in town and can do my shopping and stuff. Take a look at the stats system real quick. The core attribute system has changed. So Blizzard took out attack, defense, and precision and replaced it with strength, dexterity, and intelligence. And basically the way this works is every core attribute, well, these 3 at least, have to do with specific classes. So strength is now the barbarian stat. So if you're a barbarian like I am right here, this is what you care about. It increases all damage for barbarians and increases armor. Dexterity is for demon hunters and monks. Also increases dodge chance, which is important for those classes. And then intelligence is for witch doctors and wizards, basically the casters of the game. This increases their damage and also increases life gained from health globes. And then vitality just increases your life in general.
But that doesn't mean that your class is only going to stack one stat. For example, barbarians will still get some use out of dexterity because they will need the crit chance and they'll need the dodge.
Well, the dodge chance here, I think I don't know where crit is. You can
crit
look
might
at
just be its own.
You can look at details here. You get you also can get crit bonuses. Like there is one of the barbarian passive skills here, which is unlocked at level 10. That I have active, increases crit chance by 5% and also crit damage by 50.
Nice.
Which is pretty significant, especially for an early level skill. That is going to be really helpful, which is important, as is pointed out in the little tooltip here, that other barbarian skills are dependent on those crits. So if you were looking at the beta before, this sort of inventory pane has changed. You can no longer sell items directly out of your inventory, and you can't break them down in your inventory for component parts, which is what you see here. These are components broken down from magical items. So basically that forces you to go back to town to sell off items, which you can just do at any vendor and sell the item. There you go, you get gold. In order to actually break down items, you can't break down gray and white stuff. You just sell that back to vendors. Magic items, you go to the blacksmith now and go over to the salvage pane and salvage, and then if I had magic items, I would break them down and turn them into essences and teeth.
You do have magic items. What about that wonderful yellow belt?
No, I'm not breaking down my belt. That would be bad. Training your artisans, which basically levels them up, it changes the appearance of their shop, but also gives you access to more, to more items for better recipes and things like that to equip your character, which you can see here. You no longer have to collect pages of training as you run around the world and combine them into tomes and then hand them in. Instead, you just give gold. So I'm going to spend 1,000 gold, and you see there I've increased this level of experience a little bit on the way
About
to
a fifth of the way, or
to a level
so.
up, and also opened up some new recipes here. I can't use this yet, but anyway, this is really cool, a good system, and I think this only applies, I believe, to normal difficulty setting, which is what I'm playing now. So I guess you'll probably still have to use pages of training later. But for the initial playthrough, you'll just be using gold to level your artisans, which is now just the blacksmith and the jeweler. The mystic has been cut out, so that is no longer part of the game. In terms of how your skills are actually swapped out, at one point in the beta, there was an altar sitting here. This was after the initial release. Initially, you could just swap out skills whenever you wanted to. There was an altar here that required you to come back to town to swap skills at some point, but now it is just, the altar's gone. It's just back to a system where you can swap out skills whenever you want. So if I want to switch out Bash with Cleave, and Cleave does an arc strike in front of me instead of attacking a single target, I can slot that in. And then there's just a little cooldown timer you can see here that counts down for 30 seconds, and then once that happens, I can swap in something else. So you can still actively swap skills in the field. You just can't do it as frequently as you were before. And I know Blizzard had said they didn't like the system where you could swap skills out without any penalty, just because people would then play with their skill menu up and swap skills out as they found stuff.
Yeah, it sort of did away with the whole point of limiting skills to 7. Because players would just pretend like they weren't limited at all.
Yeah, and I'll close that pane. But as you do level up, you get 6 active skills total eventually, and then you can also unlock 3 passive skills. In terms of what the skills actually do, there have been minor tweaks here and there. I don't think the Barbarian has really received as many changes as some of the other classes. But there are a few differences for what you can actually do with the stuff you find in the world. Of course, Diablo is all about loot. If you played Diablo games before, you know that scrolls of identification come in pretty handy for discovering the magical properties of items you find in the field. Those aren't in the game anymore. There are no more scrolls of identification. You don't have to worry about those. If you find...
So does that mean that loot is automatically named and identified when you pick it up?
Well, the lower level blue stuff, like this, will have... Well, this is monk only, but it'll have its stats displayed. If you find something of this tier, with the yellow display name, it will still... You'll pick it up unidentified, but... If you just right-click on it, and that happened, like, for instance, these, I believe it was the pants, I think it was the pants, dropped from the Skeleton King when I ran through the beta before, who's sort of the end point of the beta. And when that item is in your inventory, you just right-click it, and a little progress bar goes by, and then after a little while, it's identified. So you don't actually have to have
so you don't even have to
around.
return to town. You can just, you can identify it yourself in the field. It just takes a little time.
Yep.
Nice.
So yeah, that has been adjusted, and also you can't find scrolls of companion anymore.
No.
I know, tragic. This was just a scroll you picked up, and once you activated it, small animals would basically follow you around and
like snakes or...
There were a whole bunch of different animals. They would basically follow you around and pick up gold automatically. So like they would pick this up, so I didn't have to run over it to pick it up. Which was convenient, I thought, but Blizzard didn't think it meshed very well with the game world.
Blizzard agreed that it was convenient to the point that it was too convenient and felt obligatory.
Yeah, and also that it basically, in order to play effectively, people were just having to use the Scrolls of Companion, so they took them out. That doesn't mean they're gone permanently. They could still show up at some point, but for launch, that is not going to be the case. They're not going to be in there. And I believe that's most of what has changed in terms of major features. The update posted on Blizzard's site basically said that there were skill and runestone system changes incoming, which should be pretty interesting to hear about. I don't know how significant those are going to be, considering how close we allegedly are to the release date of the game. It's supposed to be coming out early 2012. Blizzard has said through community posts that they are trying to get the game out as soon as possible. Contrary to public opinion, they do actually want to release the game. And you know, I think a lot of people, especially those who haven't had the opportunity to be in the beta yet, would agree with that sentiment.
So what do you think of the beta overall, though?
I mean, the beta's been good. I've liked the changes that have been implemented so far, and I like the fact that you can go through and go on, I don't know if that's going to trigger it there, but go through and basically go on killing sprees to give you bonus experience. I mean, it's a really fast-paced game. There's a lot of things to kill.
Yeah, I've noticed that when you destroy multiple objects in a short time frame, you get bonus experience.
Yeah, you do. And let's see, that may happen here with the barrels. I just did a 4-shot barrel kill. That apparently did not. That did not qualify.
I always saw it when you did 6. So go for 6. Ooh.
It's a little journal. I'm just going to close that out. I don't know if there are enough barrels here. My ground stomp certainly gets rid of them. But yeah, I like the barbarian skill set. I'm a pretty. I've had a lot of fun with weapon throw, which I have on. Well, cleave is basically a fury generator. My resource is fury. It degenerates like it is now when out of combat. But I can use cleave to build fury when I'm in a fight, and ground stomp also generates fury and does area of effect stun damage. And then I have as the weapon throw, which is basically it costs fury. So I build the fury with these skills, and then use it with another set of which I haven't really unlocked. Well, I've unlocked a few of them, but I just have weapon throw in for now. Which is basically the barbarian's projectile attack. He's not a very fast class, so if somebody is running away from you, it's a good, and I can show it off here, it's a good way to catch them. There we go.
Nice. And these can all be augmented through the runestone system, which is available in the character builder on the Diablo site, but that might all undergo changes of varying degrees.
I can't see it changing significantly that much at this point. You know, a lot of the tweaks that have happened have been fairly minor, although the stat system changes seem like they would be major, although I don't know the exact nature of the behind the scenes on that. But I can't imagine the runestone and skill system changing all that much.
Well, that said, we haven't even been exposed to it because it hasn't been in the beta at all. So
and the system itself does have really cool effects on your skills. If you haven't been paying attention to how that system works, it's basically you slot in one of 5 runestones for each skill, and each has a significant effect on how the skill works. So something like Ancient Spear, which I haven't unlocked yet, it's at level 19, which is above the beta cap, so I can't actually unlock it in the beta. But it normally shoots out 1 spear, and if you have the right runestone in, you can shoot out, say, 5 spears to basically pull enemies back to you and do damage. So the effects are pretty significant.
And for example, the cleave might have a much wider area of effect, or it might trigger a slow or something. Each runestone has a specific effect.
I just completely missed.
It was
my fault.
Look out for the glowing dude. He looks like he's going to destroy you.
Yeah, and I mean, as will be familiar to any glowing fans, any Diablo fans.
Fans of glowing.
Yep.
Out there.
Big fans of glowing stuff. You do randomly come across, special monsters that'll drop more valuable items and things like that, which basically just encourages you to really explore every part of these randomly generated maps, so that you can find all the cool items and stuff.
And in order to sell and break all that stuff down, you have to return to town. What do you think of Blizzard's new emphasis on returning to town to do things? Because before, you seemed very independent. You had a way to sell things, you had a way to break things down, and then you also had a means to return to town. It's all being lumped into the town portal, where you just zip back to town to do everything.
Yeah, and that's more in line with the classic Diablo style, where it's you spend a little bit of time in a dungeon, then you town portal back, you sell off your stuff, you make some upgrades, and you come back into the dungeon and more ready to completely kill everything, which is basically what happens here. Let's see if I can trigger an experience bonus by. That should have done something. So something like that skill. Nope, I guess that wasn't quite enough people. It's cool when achievements pop up and you pull that type of thing off as well. But here I can just show real quick what a trip back to town is like, since you just have town portal down here in the interface, alongside the health potion, which by the way is moved. It's now, because most people are putting potions on the 5 key, I guess. That's right here. And when you do use a potion, there's a cooldown associated with it, so you can't just spam them like you could in previous Diablos.
No chain potting.
Yeah, potion use is definitely de-emphasized because of the health globes that drop from enemies all over the place. But yeah, so how you go about crafting things, salvaging things, you salvage at the blacksmith. So you just come in here and, like, I have this ring that's actually a life regen ring. That's pretty good. I'm gonna disenchant though.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, salvage. Yeah, so it awards you subtle essence. Subtle essence. I have sort of a chance to. There we go. I just got a fallen tooth, which is a more valuable crafting thing. So it's just a dice roll on this stuff. And then the rest of these, the bracers, I cannot actually salvage the white items for materials.
Vendor trash.
So it becomes vendor trash. So I just sell those directly back to the merchant. But there is a huge emphasis on accumulating gold, because you use gold not just to, like, if I wanted to buy these items from vendors, I could do that for a gold cost. You could also buy things on the virtual auction house, virtual currency auction house. Or you can come in here and level your artisan, which no longer requires the pages of training. So all you need is the gold. So here we go, did that again. And I should have unlocked some more recipes and things. So I have required level. Oh, that's for monks. So I can't use that.
Awesome.
Leather quiver, not gonna do much.
There seemed to be a lot more. And now I didn't spend a whole lot of time at the blacksmith during my time in the beta, because I only played during the first beta phase. But there seemed to be a lot more items available to craft.
I don't know if that's exactly true. I don't know what the case would be, but when you do craft something, you don't know exactly what the properties are going to be. Like this one, for instance, these bracers that I'm going to make here in a second, plus 1 through 5 dexterity, and then +1 random magic property. So there is, you don't know exactly what you're getting, which is kind of nice. I guess it could be kind of frustrating as well, but
nah, it's great. It's like a slot machine.
Yeah,
it's a slot machine.
It's basically a slot machine. So I put in my 40 coins and my 2 subtle essences, and I get back something.
What is it?
Oh, life regen. That's pretty good.
Nah, it's not.
It's pretty good for a barbarian who's always in combat. So then I can come over here and then just disenchant the one that, or salvage the one that I took off. Get a little bit of subtle essence back, and that process just loops over and over again as you level your artisan, and then go back through the town portal right into the dungeon. And
continue your journey of killing things with the big sword.
Yep. So that is basically the latest on the Diablo 3 beta. We'll of course have any release date news on IGN as soon as it happens, and if many more major changes are made to the beta in the meantime, you can find all the coverage on IGN.com.